Hey OnePlus, how's it going? Sounds like you know how I feel now. Want to get together? Have some drinks, socially distanced? Hey, go get some beers? Anyway, so today I want to talk about this case where U.S. Customs, apparently they seized a bunch of AirPods that are not AirPods, they're OnePlus Buds, and they're doubling down on this and saying that they were supposed to take them. I will link the articles below for yourself if you'd like to read it. The TLDR is that Customs stopped shipments of these earbuds that are made for the OnePlus phone, and they're saying that it infringes on, patent, trademark, that type of stuff for the AirPods. And a lot of people thought, well, no, they must have made a mistake. Surely they made a mistake because the box itself says it's for a OnePlus phone. It's not trying to pretend that it's an Apple product. It's marketing itself as its own product. It's a different set of wireless earbuds, but just because they're wireless earbuds that fit in your ear and are white does not mean that they can't sell them. It's insane. And people thought that this must have been a mistake. Someone made a stupid mistake. And apparently it seems like they're trying to say, no, we didn't make a mistake. This is indeed, some sort of infringement of trademark or what else. And yeah, they are saying that upon examining the shipment in question, a CBP import specialist determined that the subject earbuds appeared to violate Apple's configuration trademark. Tell me what configuration trademark means other than the fact that they're white and they're earbuds. Anyway, so it seems like they really are doubling down on this. So one of the things that I find interesting here is the complete and utter refusal to admit that you got something wrong. Is it that hard to just say, I screwed up? I've done it before. I've done it in my own industry. I've done it regarding Apple, who I clearly dislike. So there was a video that I did here about a case about 2 years ago. Apple sues and then they lose. I was a very well-viewed video about the Henrik Husby case. And I actually edited the title, watched the follow-up to this video instead of this one. I did a live stream the moment that I got access to court documentation that showed that there were more details to the case than what I originally had when I did that video. When I testified on behalf of this case, I got access to documentation that showed me that not everything was how I thought. So I did this live stream on my live channel, but I was kind of pissed off because the live stream got 90-something thousand views and the original video got 2 million. So I said, all right, I'm going to do another video on it on my main channel. I did another video about a week later that got 200,000 views. And I reached out to the journalist that had been covering this story the entire time to say, hey, look, there's more information that I got that I wasn't aware of. So maybe you've been covering this case for the last year and a half. Maybe you want to know this and publish it. And the guy says, sure, I'd love to hear about it. Send it to me. So I send him the information, and then he just goes blank. He stops responding to my emails, and he never published any of the updates. So what do I do there? I burn a bridge with a right to repair journalist that otherwise was very sympathetic to our cause and covered it on a regular basis, and I did this video saying how journalists lose the trust of their readers. And I'm talking about the fact that after I got more facts in that case that I wasn't aware of before, that the outlet that was covering it didn't want to cover it. In my opinion, it's because it changed the narrative a little bit. I think if you are unwilling to admit that you are wrong because there is a narrative that would be at risk, then not only are you going to lose the narrative, but you're going to lose the support of all the people that were following you because they're not going to believe a word you have to say anymore. You see this happening everywhere today, particularly with everything that's going on right now, with people saying stuff like, no, it's okay that we had the knee on the neck for over 8 minutes because he had some drugs in his system before. Or, oh, look, no, they're nice people. It's fiery, but mostly peaceful. I mean, I'm sick and tired of seeing people that just are incapable of admitting what's right in front of them because it is going to go against their narrative. And I was very, very aggravated, particularly at an establishment that is very pro-right to repair, that covers a lot of right to repair stuff. At the one time, there was one tiny little fact that may have cut against something that someone involved in right to repair had said. Oh, we're just not going to publish that detail. You don't need to know that. You have no idea how many arguments I've had with people in my own industry for the fact that I took the stance that I did there. But it needs to be taken. If there is a fact, you should be made aware of it. And if you're wrong, get out of that little annoying lizard brain shit and just say, I fucked up. It's wrong. Whatever. People, in my opinion, understand that you are not perfect, that you are not infallible, that you will get things wrong, especially if you're talking about cases where you don't have all the information or all the information is not available. People screw up. It's the way of the world. But when you screw up, what you should do is do what I did over here and say, watch the follow-up, I was wrong. Make sure that people watch it, because if it only gets 90,000 views, that ain't good enough. And talk about it and try to get the word out that you made a mistake. Like, it's not the end of the world here. There's a lot of people that have said that, the next thing I want to go over is this whole concept of counterfeit and all that. So a lot of people in the Apple subreddit have for a long time circle jerked over the idea that I import counterfeit batteries. I do not do that. I have talked about the batteries that I get right over here. There are many types of batteries, and I put this post that I will link to below where I discuss what it is that I actually buy. And, someone asked, why are you not this civil in most of your videos? And I've said, I am this civil in a lot of my videos. It's just the only videos that ever go viral are the ones where I'm losing my mind. I have something like 12 or 1,800 videos in this channel. It's probably maybe a dozen of them, if even, that get viewed by large numbers of people. And it's usually when I'm aggravated. For a good reason, The part that really interests me here, and the part that I really want to focus on, is this whole concept that customs has some magical way of telling what is counterfeit and what is not. That they are taking all of their packages, it's automatically going to this multi-trillion-dollar machine that uses a special algorithm and artificial intelligence to tell if what's inside of it is counterfeit or not. And that is that is not the case in any way, shape, or form. I've said this in many videos, and perhaps some of you who know my videos better than I do can link me to them, because I honestly, at the top of my head at midnight, I kind of forgot. I've said many times that I could buy an iPhone, I could go to China, I could take the 20 iPhones that I bought, and I could take the back cover of the iPhone 4, I could take the volume flex, the charge port flex, the power button flex, and I could then package those 20 parts and then send them back to my repair shop in America, and there's a good chance that that's going to get confiscated by customs. Why? Because it has an Apple logo on it, and they don't have a way to tell whether or not this is actually counterfeit. What they do is they see Apple logo on it, going to some place and that's not on this list of whatever of places that should be getting this stuff, counterfeit. I know this to be true because I've imported stuff that has actually used Apple products before, and it gets taken. When it's like I'll get some of the delivery and then I won't get the rest of it, and it's used legitimate original Apple stuff. It's just it's used. It's not even like someone made this thing new and knocked it off. They don't have a way of telling this stuff. And I think that a lot of people have this idea that customs just has this multi-trillion-dollar genius machine that magically tells whether stuff is counterfeit, when the reality is that it's pretty much like the person deciding your chargeback dispute. It's going to be someone making minimum wage, maybe close to minimum wage, a little bit more than minimum wage, that doesn't really care much about their job, that has a bean counter working above them telling them you need to get through this many cases a day, that just wants to go home at the end of the day and is going to take a shortcut. As someone who's filed a chargeback and as someone who's had chargebacks filed on them, I can tell you that the process is often anything but fair, and it really just does come down to the person that's going to be reading your particular case and how they decide to flip the coin that day. And when it comes to customs, this is very much so the case. In my experience importing this stuff since 2009, it has been the case that what I want them to do is cross out every single logo on everything, cover it up as much as you can. This is industry standard practice, because we don't want our stuff to ever be mistaken for something that we are representing as original Apple in any way, shape, or form. I don't want to have a bell go off in the head of the guy making $30,000 or $40,000 a year who couldn't give a shit less about this job, that this is something that he should be confiscating because it's counterfeit. And that is what this is. It's not someone making $150,000 a year that's personally invested in going through every package and taking everything that's counterfeit. They're going to open a small percentage of the packages. They're going to see what's in it. They're going to see, oh, this is a logo on it. Oh, this is not going to a place that's Apple affiliated. All right, take it. They're going to see this probably was a case of someone looking through and thinking, oh shit, these are AirPods. And then they said, wait a second. Oh shit, no, OnePlus. That's not oh shit, they're not actually selling it as AirPods. Oh shit, this doesn't infringe it. But when people cover up the logos on the repair parts they import, they are not doing this because they know it to be counterfeit and they want to bypass someone knowing that it's counterfeit. They're doing it because they don't trust the incompetence of the individual working at customs, who either because of incompetence or malicious reasons doesn't allow the repair shop to get their packages. And this is an excellent example, because you have this happening where we're not even talking about logos. It's not even like they're trying to pretend this is an Apple product or for an Apple product, and it still gets taken by someone too incompetent to tell the difference. And hopefully this really kind of hits home to people who wonder why it is that we have to do all this shady shit and cover up logos and cover up display assembly piece parts that show an Apple on it just to get our parts. Why do we have to go through this drug dealer mule, put the bag of Coke up my ass so that I can get through the airport stuff? Why we have to do this to get parts is because of stuff like this. And the incompetence is not limited to the small repair shop. They will be equally as incompetent when dealing with a multi-billion-dollar cell phone manufacturer that has way more money than I do. At the end of the day, a small part of me is actually happy that this happened to OnePlus, and I'd like to explain why. I completely understand if you find this to be selfish, entitled, blah, 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 but I am happy that this happened to OnePlus because I understand that most people are not going to believe that this is a serious problem if I talk about it. I have a smaller following. I come off as a brash asshole. I am not the best at presenting myself. I'm not a likable human being in any way, shape, or form. So when I bring this up and I say that you could literally buy iPhones in America, go to China, take the parts out of them, send it back to your repair shop in America with the receipt in the box probably, and they would get confiscated, people are not going to believe that it's a problem. And you see that. You see that many people really like to push back because they don't like me as a human being. So if I bring something up, well, let's think the opposite of what he said because I don't like that guy. And I understand that. I'm not a likable human being. However, it is necessary that this happen. However, if it happens to a likable phone manufacturer that tens of millions of people like, then they get to realize, wow, okay, maybe this is actually a problem after all. Maybe this does actually happen. And I also think it's important that this happened with OnePlus because it's so stupid. It's not a case where they're saying, well, look at this product. This has a logo on it, but it's clearly using different cells on the inside than it's supposed to. Or you're clearly using like an Atmel chip instead of a Texas Instruments chip or something like that. That's a counterfeit. This is not a case of like putting a logo on something that shouldn't have a logo on it. This isn't even the same effing product. This example is so stupid that it's ridiculously laughable and there's no defense to it. And the second reason that I'm happy is that OnePlus has the resources to fight this. When I've had problems like this, they happened after a CBC News piece came out and business was exploding, and I had to try to figure out how to manage my business in a 600 square feet hallway. I was so busy after that news piece came out before I found the new people that I did who were vetted and good at the job that I was staying at work until 1 or 5 in the morning every single day. I got sick on Christmas Eve. I was working through Christmas Eve. I was working through New Year's until I finally took a bit of a break. I worked nonstop until I moved. Then there was the whole Eugening and the getting screwed over there, and then COVID and all this. Like, I don't have time as a thousandaire business owner to actually really push back against this. But you know who does? A multi-billion-dollar cell phone manufacturer. Customs is screwed with the wrong people, and I'm really happy to see what OnePlus is able to do. And while I feel bad that OnePlus is going to have to go through some hurt, some pain, they paid for all this product, yet they can't sell it right now, so they're losing some money there. They're going to waste some time dealing with lobbying and legal issues. At the end of the day, call me selfish, and I'll let you know, if you want to call me a piece of shit for it, I'll take it on the chin. They have the money, the connections, and the power to be able to fight a fight that I can't fight, that needs to be fought, and I'm happy to see them do it, and I champion them doing it, and I'd like to see them win, and I'd like to support them in any way, shape that I can, and I hope that people who are watching this video do too, because this is kind of ridiculous. I mean, like, can you imagine if this was happening back when Apple was saying, oh, look, it's a phone, it's a rectangle, they stole our design, it's a rectangle. I mean, can you imagine if they were taking other phones made by other manufacturers back in the day because of this? Because that's where we're going with this at some point. Like, I get it. They look kind of like AirPods, but don't Idiomotics kind of look like Shores? Like, doesn't the Shure E3C look a little bit like the Idiomotic ER4 or ER6? I mean, A lot of these products at some point, a lot of them do converge towards looking closer and closer and more like each other. I remember back when I had less than about 50 subscribers doing a video on this in 2013. When I went to CTI in 2014, one of my customers who had been buying from me for about 3 years from North Carolina was talking to me about his experience where people came into his shop with guns and went through everything over Apple logos being on products that were not actually counterfeit. This is a serious issue, and I think that it's not going to be taken seriously if my friend that nobody knows exists, or me, who people know exists but think is an asshole, are like the only ones that are talking about it. It needs to be an issue that gets more widespread attention, and I'm really happy that this happened because it means that it's going to get very widespread attention. It's a really awful case that like you can't even kind of try to just say that it's okay, and it's happening against a company that has billions and billions of dollars to give customs a big middle finger and a big fuck you. So we'll see how that works out. I wish OnePlus the best of luck. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. That's it for today, and as always, I hope you learned something.